Okay, everyone here knows Elden Ring, and at this point, it's probably easier to point out people who haven't at least heard of the game. And if you found yourself here at my little channel, subscribe, by the way. I don't want it to be so tiny anymore. But you probably know at least the broad strokes of the lore, at least talking about the base game. I haven't personally played Shadow of the Erd Tree yet, so none of this lore will be discussing the DLC, but we will be talking about some of the lesser known pieces of lore in the side quests hidden throughout the lands in between. So hidden, some of you might not even know these exist, as there obviously aren't any quest markers or journals in this game. So, let's start and discuss one of my favorite dudes who's actually partially cut from the base game, but still exists in some form, who's pretty damn interesting. So first off, let's talk about one of the most famous Tarnished that anyone who has played the game, or at least seen the box art, at least knows something about. And that is my dude Vike. And he, before us at least, was the closest anyone has ever gotten to becoming the new Elden. But obviously we come along with our main character energy and just beat everyone's ass. But anyway, back to Vike. So this dude met a dragon in the Atlas Plateau, and instead of killing him, like you would suspect, he became this dragon's best knight. But, well, once he got into the capital, well, a few things happened, and he went mad. No, like literally he was touched by the frenzied flame. He has the madness that's in the game. Now, reasons why aren't concrete. It could be trickery, akin to Shabriri trying that with you. If you don't know who that is, make sure to let me know and I'll cover some of the bigger lore of this series. But, be it rather trickery or simpery for his maiden, he still went mad and was expected to start a new age of frenzied flame. But, obviously we aren't in an age of frenzied flame and we couldn't even start that, so something went wrong. And we learn that he is now jailed in an ever jail, but part of his spirit still lingers on in the frenzied village as it attacks you as you go up to the Church of Inhibitions. And now you know who wore one of the frankly sickest looking armor sets in the game, and who is the first Tarnish you'll ever meet on your journey. But seriously, I understand some people don't like the fingerprint aesthetic, but it is genuinely a top 5 sickest looking armors in Elden Ring. No, I will not take criticism on that. Alright, now that we got the honestly somewhat saddening tale of my boy Vike, let's cover someone that you don't have to kill. In fact, someone you probably actually help a great deal throughout this quest. Now you might know Nefeli from the Godric boss fight, as you can summon her to help you if you meet and talk to her while in Stormvale, or you also might have doomed her to a fate worse than death by giving her a potion from one named Seluvis, the mage under Ranni. But if you don't give her that potion by rather ignoring his questline, which I get, dude's a freak. Or you can also give Gideon the potion meant for her, as Gideon is also her adoptive father, as you learn. Now next time you're in Liurnia, you'll find her on a mission from Gideon. But this time, instead of trying to defeat a man undeniably evil like Godric, this mission is to wipe out a village of a race called Abernarix to get a key item for the Tarnished of the Round Table. Now, to give you the TLDR on these guys, these are like the lowest totem poles of the land in between. But when she gets there, she not only feels bad about what she's being sent to do, but she learns someone has beaten her to it, or is at least in the progress of wiping out the village. And so you defeat the boss that's there, and pick up half of a medallion that gets you to the Halig Tree. Now if you know what that is, I'll leave it there. But if you don't, let me know in the comments, and I'll get the ball rolling on broader lore videos over some of the bigger figures in the Elden Ring story. But, after failing Gideon, he straight up disowns her, and this is typically where you will be giving her this potion if you follow through the questline linearly, or just do it as you find it. Or again, you can refuse, and instead, you'll give her the Stormhawk key. And she becomes the new head of Stormvale in Godric's position, where she'll do her best to lead fairly and evenly. And this, right here, is one of the few times someone you meet out here isn't destined to end their life in sadness. In fact, after you complete this quest, you can even summon her to help you fight Godfrey. And halfway through the fight, you learn Godfrey's true name is Hoaraloo. And if you're thinking, yes, that does connect them, and we learn she is a direct relative of the first ever Elden Lord, as well as the first ever Tarnished. Alright, so here's Bach. Now, fully completing this questline actually is what dooms him here. So let's walk you through what goes down, and I'll show you how to save our tree buddy over here. So, after meeting Bach from hitting him while he's a tree, he says he's going to get something for you for helping him out of his leafy business. And you can find him again down on the beach afterward. Not really on the beach, but in a cave that was his home. But everyone there beat him half to death, and now you gotta go get his prized possession back. So you go through this cave, fight some demi-humans, and you actually pick up his tailoring kit. And after you give it to him, he has a new lease on life, and you meet him again both in Liurnia and the capital, where he will now alter your armor. Now, this questline has two places it can go once you give him the golden needle you get from Neil. No, not him. Yeah, that dude. And it expands your repertoire of tailoring equipment. Or, you can also give him a larval tear, so he can be rebirthed into a human by Renala, in a way like she does for us. Now, if you do this, he does technically get his wish, but he is a shell of a man who can't talk or do anything really. And if you ever come back to Renala after you see Bach's new human form, you'll see he has died. Now, even though that is just straight up depressing, you can refuse to give him a larval tear, and while even though he won't get his wish, he still remains living, and you can go back to him anytime to alter your clothes. Now that's just one of the potential happy endings you can encounter on these quests, be it far and few in between. And now, you have some of what I believe are the lesser known characters of Elden Ring's lore in your brain. Now if you like this and want some more lore dives, maybe into the more obscure characters, or hell, I'd even be down to do a lore breakdown of the main story if somehow you're interested and haven't heard that a million times already. But nevertheless, if you enjoyed this, please leave a like, it does a lot for me. And while you're down there, you might as well subscribe so you can come back for more lore goodness in this channel. Now, I will typically be rambling way too long about video games and some other pop culture media. And I want you to make sure to comment down below who's your favorite character out of these I've listed so far. Personally, for me, I think Bach wins. Like, okay, no, not that guy. Okay, no one's gonna understand this joke. Anyway, again, that Bach's my favorite. And thank you all for venturing with me through these lands in between and exploring some of the lesser known characters of Elden Ring. I'll see you around.